currently joining me is Michael, but Mackenzie will be on a little bit due to inconveniences.
Hi,
Uh,
I'm the inconvenience.
well, Michael's being inconvenienced as well, but that's a different matter which we won't talk about.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's fine. I'm here. I'm here. I'm totally paying attention.
So
So
we're going to
we're ready
continue.
for some League of Legends. Yeah. Oh, sorry, wrong stream.
I will slap you, good sir. Also, apparently, I was describing to Mackenzie why, and this is the big thing, is that ah, God, I hate you. I literally hate this emulator. I really need to get fucking a proper emulator because this thing literally. I fix the input and then it doesn't work.
That's super awesome.
There we go. Okay. But essentially, there we go. Uh, yeah. Let's just say this. Yeah, we're continuing from where we left off. It, mostly because of the fact that I'm an idiot.
Oh, here's the enemy. Beware.
Because guess what I forgot to do this week? I forgot
I'll
to
give
do
you a hint. It rhymes with rind
bind.
or
Yes,
bind.
I got bind.
Yeah,
But-
or bind. It also rhymes with bind. You can see the bind that we're in here.
But no. Kind of going back to the earlier thing. Apparently, I may have convinced Mackenzie to try out a MOBA,
Oh,
and
You can hear
I
me.
need to question this.
Hello, do you
Yes.
realize I'm here?
we can hear you now.
Hi, we do now.
I'm just like talking to me like I'm not here.
No, I was
No.
describing the situation that I've now turned you to the dark side, and I'm horribly regretting it.
So I need to first, before we can address anything further on the topic, I need to start out by asking David,
Yes.
as someone who absolutely loathes the entire genre of MOBA, how did this ever come about?
Let's just say this. Go steady.
I'm sorry, Ghost Eddie?
Go steady. Apparently, and this is, I'm not joking, occasionally on Discord I will see Eddie playing a game, and Eddie will be nowhere close to his computer.
Oh, okay.
Thus,
Yeah, that happens.
go steady.
Yeah, that happens. I can ship that.
And so, the past week, I kept bugging Eddie going like, hey, what you do? Why you playing that game? And no response. And then one time he actually does pay attention.
And
He's like,
getting a response of, no, I'm not.
no, he's more like, what the heck are you talking about? I'm not, I'm responding from my phone at Andy's place, which is his brother. And I'm like, Eddie, you're playing Heroes of the Storm, which is essentially Blizzard MOBA.
Yeah.
And yeah, considering that one time I swear Eddie was, but so when Mackenzie asked like, "What's Heroes of the Storm?" I went and described it as, and you're probably going to punch me in the face, a mix between Castle Defense and what was it? What did I write down? I am a horrible memory. Let's see here. Oh, capture the point in Castle Defense, which most of the MOBAs I've played have been basically kill the mobs and capture points, which I'm pretty sure that's about 90% of the MOBAs I've ever played.
I'm not saying that's entirely inaccurate.
Oh, hey, guess who we finally meet? Long hair, giant, huge asshole, and
Oh, hey. Hello, big brother.
Yep.
I mean, what? Sorry, what?
So when I described it to Mackenzie, she will probably go like, "Yeah, I turned her to the dark side."
Dang it.
Also, huh?
So nice.
What'd you say, Mackenzie?
I haven't played whatever you're talking about yet.
Oh. Yeah. You said you were interested, but not as you were busy with other things. Also, I kind of like how Celine's parents look so, I want to say normal in this versus Celine, who's literally silver-haired. But then again, probably the only MOBA that I would technically play, and this is a huge technically, is the one released by Gearbox that everyone thought was was rivaling Overwatch, and I can't remember it now.
By Gearbox?
Yeah. It's
Interesting.
it's a first-person one, and everyone thought it was essentially like Overwatch, but it was more of a first-person MOBA than anything. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Because first it was $40, then it dropped down to $20, and was that Paisley snuffing into the mic?
No, that was me.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm just gonna mute myself for a sec.
Okay. And now it's like, I think free to play? God, what was it called? Blah. Oh, that's nice. Every child in the village is now gone. That must mean that this whole village can't blame millennials for their problems anymore. Sorry. Even though I found out the term for millennial is if you're born anywhere from, like, 1985. I thought it was 1985.
I heard 1982.
Yeah.
I heard 85. Or 82, I mean. So I deliberately stretch it because I don't care. Because honestly, my personality... See, here's the thing. Is that they have these lovely little perfect cookie-cutter generations. Like Gen X that cuts off born at 1977.
Mhm.
And Millennial that cuts off born at 1982. Or 85 or whichever. And so you have this little gap, this little sliver in between that's like, well, then who the hell are we? Hi, I'm part of that. So I identify more as a millennial.
Actually, I've seen some graphs where it's like like there was Gen X, and then here's where it gets crazy. There was Gen Y,
And
which
that's what I was going to say. Is originally it was supposed to be Gen Y picked up around 77, 78 and would go out into like the early 90s.
Yeah.
And then the millennials would pick up from there, but they apparently got rid of us completely.
Yeah, and so and I swear they said there was a third generation after the millennial, like that was literally nestled right between the millennials and Gen Y, and I'm like, because technically I'm 1 year off from being that generation.
Well, it depends on which number you're counting by.
Yeah.
Because if you're counting by 1982, then no, you're not. You're actually in the millennium.
Well, no, I mean like this generation was like in that weird gap where the millennials and Gen Y were kind of overlapping. but it like cut off at like 1985. And since I'm 1986 myself, I am supposedly pure millennial. I'm like, the fuck I am.
I thought millennial. Wait. What generation
original-
am I?
The original concept.
Millennial.
The original concept for millennial was anyone who was born within the 20th century, but came of age during the 21st century.
So basically, if you were born in, let's say,
Anywhere between 1982 and 1999.
mm-hmm.
Millennial.
Yep.
Which is funny because that brings us to the interesting point that in about 2 more days we will arrive at the only day in history where every single person who is 18 or older was born in the 20th century or presumably before, and every single person who is 17 or younger was born in the 21st century.
Yep.
New Year's Eve is the only day in all of history where we will be able to make that exact statement.
And there will probably be a lot of punching fists to faces, depending on how people react to that. Myself, I'm going to be horribly, horribly not drunk and probably asleep at that time. Because there's no way I'm leaving my house for anything on New Year's Eve. I'm a horrible, boring person in real life. And online.
Bitch, you're very exciting. I mean, not like exciting really. I would more describe it as like, and I have fun hanging out with you. I don't need just fucking crazy shit 24/7, dude.
I'm entertaining. Not in the bad way where it's like we laugh at you. It's like we laugh with you. Kind of entertaining.
You
Usually
send
with.
me cool
Usually
stuff to
with.
read.
There's the
and watch.
occasional ad, but usually with.
Oh yeah. Before you joined us, Mackenzie, I was describing to Michael about that video I sent you about Cutie Honey.
What is
you were
it?
trying to.
Yeah. Cutie Honey is essentially the progenitor to magical girls.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Which obviously means that it both has a lot to be praised for and a lot to ask for our forgiveness for.
Yeah, considering that the later installments of Cutie Honey have either ramped up certain aspects, like
Sexuality?
no, let's say there was one OVA in the 90s that was, dear God, this is almost a porno.
That's
And-
what I.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's the
But-
best kind, actually. I mean, what?
and then there was one that was
That's almost.
almost a porno. We didn't see any of, like, literally, it was like barely softcore kind of porn. But then on the opposite side of the coin, just a few years later, we saw essentially a full-on proper, like, somebody took Cutie Honey and actually did a full-on, like, shoujo magical girl stylization of it. And it worked. So,
Well, I mean, anything can work if you believe in yourself enough.
yeah. But, like, the things that you could probably... the reason why I say it's the progenitor and not, like, the thing that made magical girls was... the way Cutie Honey operates is everything's done by science.
Yeah.
Because...
So, do you blind them with science?
pretty much because, things that you can say that Cutie Honey did was, the magical girl transformation. That's Cutie Honey. But
Woo.
how Cutie Honey did it was nanomachines. I'm not joking. It's another thing is that her powers are based off of love. I'm not joking either. It's like, I am powered by the warrior of love is one of her call signs.
The warrior of love, no less.
The warrior of love, yes.
I like it. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 love.
10 out of 10 would fight for love again.
Fight for love again, yes. So, and I'm not saying that Cutie Honey is like the be-all and end-all originator of Magical Girls. No. They did, there was probably a few others that probably in the same sense that Mazinger kind of codified the giant mecha genre into, oh, hey, the pilot sits in the robot and controls it from within.
Wait, which anime codified that?
That was Mazinger.
Okay, so Mazinger is ultimately to blame for the fact that we have Ava.
Technically, from only one small aspect, yes. The other person.
Blame them, though, because I need someone to blame for that garbage fire, and I know that you love it, but I'm sorry, it became a garbage fire at that 45-second delay.
Oh, that. Pop. I'm sorry. I
can never forgive it in any of its incarnations after that.
What was the song that they used for that entire 45 seconds? I feel it was like a Bach song.
It was something appropriately dark and disturbing.
I know it was a piece of classical music, and it was just... But to explain why I went to Mazinger is that the guy behind Cutie Honey is the same guy that did Mazinger.
Oh. So this guy's just pioneering all kinds of different tropes.
Yeah. Basically, the creator of Mazinger, Go Nagai, he's most known for Mazinger, which just got a movie called Mazinger Infinity Wars, which apparently shows off the largest Mazinger unit yet.
Not to be confused with any other kind of Infinity War.
Yeah. Then there's the factor that another property of his, Devilman, which was highly controversial when it was released in Japan in the 70s, is getting a Netflix movie, which is already out in Japan, but it's going to be coming stateside, I think they said sometime in either February or March, called Devilman Crybaby.
I can guarantee there's going to be people who get confused and are thinking that it's going to be a Devil May Cry.
I'm going to sit there and go like, yeah, you watch Devilman, and you will be sitting there go like, what? And I read Devilman in the original 1970s comic that was released. It's very dark, even by today's standards. And basically, Devilman is kind of like Japan's version of the anti-hero, as well as like like how Japan handles controversial matters. Because the one thing I can say about Devilman is that it starts out with essentially a 1970s drug rave happening.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
I can see that being a little controversial in the 70s.
Yeah. Especially in Japan, very, very conservative Japan. Because Japan doesn't have raves nor drug orgies either.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No.
Even America during the 1970s, if Devilman was released, would have been like, what the heck is this?
There would have been many there would have been many pearls clutched that day.
There would probably be an even stricter censorship if it had come out stateside, or less
yeah, sure.
censorship. But the fourth one, and this one is the most infamous example of Go Nagai's work. I can't remember the actual Japanese name, but it's basically Pervert Academy.
On that one, I want to watch that.
As far as I know, there's 0 animations for it, because.
Alas.
But the manga is online to read if you can find it. Just as a heads up, and this is a big heads up, it is completely an SFW.
Woo!
Because, as the name implies, this is an academy. This is a high school, quotations, full of perverts.
Love it.
Considering that yes, we are playing the game. I'm just being very slow about it so people can read. Sana.
Sana, yeah. Yeah, this is really how we go. We do play the game. We absolutely do play the game. But when we get to story, and especially when Asher has something that he wants to get off his chest or he wants to expound on, this is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry about going at the glacial pace. At least we're not doing grinding for an hour and 45 minutes.
So, glaciers will move faster, but they're melting and shit. Sorry, I got depressed.
Sorry. Ah, yes! Diaz! This is the most boring... This is probably the... No. I can tell you what's probably the most boring part, and that's when they finally get to explain what the sorcery sphere is. That's pages. Oh.
That is pages. Or conversely, what we were doing last week where he was grinding on stream, which thankfully we are not going to be doing tonight.
No, the beginning of the game doesn't even touch upon the, sorcery sphere. I mean... literally, like, when you actually find out what the sorcery sphere is, which is, like,
when you get to the sorcery sphere.
Which is end of disc 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Although, spoilers and all, but yeah, otherwise, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is spoilers, since they haven't even mentioned those guys yet.
Well, they don't get mentioned until then, but still.
Mm-hmm. And no, we are not unlocking those guys' true potential.
Yeah, we're skipping the limiters.
Yeah. Given the factor that how unknown this game is, it probably would be considered spoilers. So, even though you did play this game from the sounds of it, and there may be people out there that don't know of it yet.
Yeah, it's more of a thing of, just in case someone happens for the first time to go, hey, I've played Star Ocean 5, I've played Star Ocean 4. Yeah, but we also archive the video, and we sometimes archive the chat with the video, so...
Yeah. And that was Diaz, a character we are not getting because we're playing Claude. And much to Michael's dismay, good riddance.
No, honestly, no. That was kind of the flip side of what we were saying before. I actually prefer the character that we get as a trade-off for playing in Claude's storyline.
Boy Genius?
Yes.
I thought you could get Boy Genius in Reyna's.
Nope.
Hmm.
Nope. He's the trade-off for Diaz. And now you're pretty soon going to finally get the boots and be able to actually go all the way into the swamp instead of just the 2 screens we were farming last week.
Yep. But then again, like all JRPGs tend to have a... we're going up the wife route, so we've skipped over Ashton.
Yeah, we're going for the couple.
Yeah, we're going for the couple. Because, well, I do...
I tried to get him to go for Ashton and Presses, but he wasn't hearing it. That's my preferred route is Ashton Presses.
Boys, you're both pretty.
That is a lie from your mouth, madam.
Yeah,
I hate
both
to
of
tell
y'all
you,
are
but-
ugly, Sin.
Exactly.
Just kidding. You guys are actually beautiful. Shut the fuck up.
I'm a necromancer!
Be beautiful. Don't put yourself down.
It's
Could
more
we
of a
actually
kind of
go for
match
Presses?
set thing. It's kind of a match set thing. I believe you can get Presses if you skip the husband.
Oh, okay.
But it's kind of a match set thing. Like, it just doesn't feel right to have Praesis without the ability to get her true ultimate, which you can't get hologram without Ashton. So for me, it just feels like a waste, and it also feels like you want to get the couple together.
Yeah, I feel like for the husband and wife, technically the wife doesn't get a lot of combined techniques, does she? For a lot of people, except for her husband, if I recall correctly.
I don't think she gets any combined techniques at all. I think the only really combined quote unquote technique is the one that Praesis learns from Ashton.
Okay.
But I mean, again, you have those storylines. Like, you have Ashton and Priestess have a really strong storyline together. Opera and her husband have a really strong storyline together. It feels weird to kind of schism that. But I mean, as Dex said, yeah, you can get either Priestess or Ernst, but at the same time, I always just feel like Priestess just isn't as strong without Ashton. Like, granted, Ernest isn't strong really, period, but it's kind of fun. It's this whole fun design. Wait, no, not Ernest. No, it's not Ernest. Because Ernest is later. Because if you do that build up, you can still get Ernest or Chisato. But you can actually get Praesis and Ernest in the same playthrough. It's Praesis and Bowman. I think you're thinking of Dex. Bowman.
Okay.
Because Bowman's the pharmacist.
Yep.
Ernest was the naturalist. I mean, at this point, we've just thrown the spoilers on the names out the window. That's the thing.
Yeah. Considering that I've been showing off pictures of the characters on the Facebook, and so
Yeah, all the pictures I've been sharing have all been, I've been very carefully, okay, these are the only characters we have so far. I'm only going to show these ones in this little snippet. And then you're just like, oh, let me show the entire cast. Oh, and this picture has Welch too. Don't worry about that. We're not even playing a version with Welch. Don't even worry about that.
wait, which one had Welch in it?
I want to say the one that was a couple weeks ago, or like 3 weeks ago.
I'll have to double check.
Because I swear I could have sworn I remember seeing Welch in one of yours, and I'm like, I mean that's cool and all. I like the fact that she did get that call out, but that was definitely not the version we're playing here.
Yeah, we're not paying the PSP version, which apparently cut out a good chunk of certain aspects of this game.
Front row geeks. We like inaccuracy.
We love anachronisms.
We love anarchy.
I mean, really, the only really strong difference I remember between the two versions. Now, keeping in mind that I played the PSP version literally once.
You said the two virgins.
Wait, what?
Sounded like you said the two virgins, not two versions.
No, versions.
Yeah, I know what you said, but it sounded like the other way.
Well, maybe to you it did. I don't know.
To the audience, it did. Oh, fight me.
Yes, also horrible time to do this. But doing it anyway.
No, it's never a horrible time to save. It's always a good time to save. You are more than skilled and geared enough for this place. It's not an issue.
Also, fuck you, bandits! I'm gonna punch you in the face.
That's right. Do it. Punch them. And punch that. Don't punch them in the face. Punch them in the balls. More effective. More permanent.
It's super effective.
Exactly. See? Mackenzie knows. She's not even watching the game and she knows.
I have no fucking clue what game you guys are playing.
Star Ocean, the second story.
Yeah.
Because the
I'm going
PSP
to
version...
Going through the makeup I bought today. Because I decided I'm gonna look pretty in the new year. I'm also gonna try to go vegan.
Yeah, that was really the only things I was thinking of. Dex was the fact that it has the upgraded, slightly updated graphics, has the better art, and then it does. I kinda like the inclusion of Welch as just this cute little callback, or I call forward, I guess. But I really don't remember too many other changes besides that. I don't remember the game being comparably different beyond those points.
Of the things I remember of the PSP version, is that it did they did add in some anime cutscenes, some of which they actually got the studio that had worked on the anime, which was Production IG, to recreate the scenes or create some new ones for the PSP, as well as they used some of the anime stylized versions for it. But then again, like, the anime version of Claude has literally a lime green jacket instead of the brown one that he has.
Which,
So,
yeah, that is kind of a little jarring.
yeah.
Oh, it's just them. We can win this.
I don't know, it kind of reminds me of some of the retranslations that I dealt with.
Well, like, I remember one of the changes was, now that I'm thinking about it, one of the changes was they changed planet Milicinia to Milokenia. I'm not remembering a lot of the battle system changes, but again, I've played this version probably a dozen times, and the PSP version most of once, so... And then my PSP broke, and I threw it away, and that was the end of that story.
Admittedly, since I had a hacked PSP, I played a little bit of the remake of 1 and a little bit of 2, and then went back to playing Super Robot Wars.
So I'm guessing, Dex, when they did that, they made it where it's kind of where it has like this, like it has special animations and creates additional delay. I'm guessing.
Is it a
It's Greaves. They are poor quality Greaves.
Bloop.
but they're necessary to continue through this area. So you do what you must because you shall. Well, yeah, definitely with the Eternal Spear or with the Ring of Slaying, which gives you essentially the same effect, but you can use it with other weapons as well. Although I'm not sure, can you stack those two effects? I don't know if I've ever tried that. If you can get more sparks from having Ring of Slaying plus Eternal Spear.
Also, I completely forgot how this forest works, so yeah.
Slayer Ring also gives you the sparks, the chance to insta kill sparks. Oh, was it Angel Armband? Okay. It has admittedly also been a while since I've played this. Like right now, I'm in the middle of a playthrough of Last Hope, and Last Hope does not have that. Last Hope replaced all the fun stuff with more cutscenes. Which, don't get me wrong, I do like Last Hope, but it went the same direction a lot of Squeenix games have been going lately, where it's a really lovely movie with some interactive parts.
And then there was Faithlessness and Integrity, or
Yeah, Faithlessness and Integrity, the fifth one.
where that one, it's like I know there was a lot of controversy during the beginning when they were creating the game because of, oh, one character has panties, and literally it turned into basically Japanese fans saying fuck America. Oh right, the Star Guard.
Okay, so my brain is completely derping because I'm not even remembering the Star Guard.
Star Guard is not from Star Ocean. It's from Dragon Quest, if I recall.
Oh, that's why I'm not remembering it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. They also added in, I think, Luneth's Amulet, which is from Valkyrie Profile. Which I want them to remake the original Valkyrie Profile, but that's a pipe dream.
Right now, the remake department is a little tied up with 7 HD 4K super special awesome flavor.
Oh, considering that Tri-Ace is at least doing something versus the studio that I'd like to return to one of their properties, but they said they will never do it ever again. Because you want to know what game they're talking about? That I'm wanting. No, not Mistwalker. Media Vision. Did I fuck up?
I think you did. I think it was the other way. But I think you still have a chance after the battle.
Oh, okay, no. I still have a chance. And if you're wondering what series Media Vision created, the Wild Arm series. Considering that, as far as I can tell, Mistwalker still kind of exists, but it's a subsidiary of Squeenix. Are you sure about that?
Things will work out.
Because the last game Mistwalker created was Bravely Default. I'm not joking. Check the credits.
Well, I mean that doesn't necessarily mean that they've been bought as much as that they cooperated. I mean, that would be the same as saying that Disney is a Squeenix property because of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. But no, I've been looking into some of the companies and stuff, and yes, Mistwalker is an independent company. But technically, its parent company is still Square Enix. Even though they will work with other companies. Okay. Um... Hmm. If I recall the storyline correctly, we actually don't save the children at all. We actually defeat this guy. But
Yeah, they save the children. You defeat that guy.
yeah, but
By the way, Nixana said Silicon Studios did Bravely Default and Bravely Second.
yeah, that's the thing, is that I'm pretty sure it is Mistwalker Studios that did Bravely Default. Because it's just one of those things that I actually swear I saw the original creator for Final Fantasy 1 on the list of people that wrote for Bravely Default. I mean, like, the way games are made nowadays is like you have like 4 or 5 studios working on one title, and but like they'll get the only name that you may see is the main developer and the publisher. But I swear Mistwalker was on Bravely Default as one of the studios that worked on it. And fuck off, DS. No one likes you. Also, I like how we're staring at this guy's ass this entire time. Demon butt. But no, the studio I wish would come back in the limelight was MediaVision, and I was kind of year after year hoped that they'd pop back up and say, "Hey, Wild Arms 6!" No, they said after 5 was basically, that's the swan song, good day everybody. Because this MediaVision got absorbed into Sony completely. It doesn't exist anymore. It's kind of what happened to like some of the publishers stateside, like Age Tech. Age Tech's gone. I think Age Tech got bought up by Oh. I'm trying to remember I can't remember them now. You still there, Michael?
I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm actually looking into the mystery. The only thing I'm finding so far is, of course, Squeenix and Silicon. I'm trying to see if I can find any kind of reference that might bear out the connection to Mistwalker.
Yeah. Look into the credits for Bravely Default. And now I kind of feel like I sent Dex away accidentally. Not trying to be rude or anything.
Now, that being said, while I haven't found anything yet in regards to the Bravelies, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, because we were saying Mistwalker, right? Mistwalker Corporation?
Mistwalker Studios.
Okay, not Mistwalker Corporation.
Correct.
Okay. Why? How do they do that? That's so rude.
Although I'm not sure if it's corporation or studios, or if it's
Well,
just
because
Mhm.
when I look up Mistwalker Studios, the first thing that comes up is Mistwalker Corporation. Mistwalker Corporation is a Japanese video game development studio founded by Hironobu Sakaguchi.
Yep, that's it.
In 2004, with the financial backing of Microsoft. Nobuo Uematsu, known for his work in the Final Fantasy series, has written music for various games. Hironobu Sakaguchi was the creator of Final Fantasy.
The original.
Sakaguchi is the president of the studio, and Kensuke Tanaka, the producer of the Play Online system, which was the backbone for Final Fantasy XI servers, is the vice president.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels almost more like they're basically where Squeenix went to not be Squeenix.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Was Hironobu Sakaguchi was like, I really don't do much at Squeenix anymore, but I want to continue doing game development, so he broke off and made Mistwalker.
And then he gets Nobuo to come over and help him out from time to time.
Yeah. I don't recall him ever being fired. No, that Spirits Within is a different monster. And Sakaguchi had zero to do with that. Because, if I recall correctly, Spirits Within, I think they got a famous Japanese director to write out the story. But, no, that was all done by... it was the only film...
Sakaguchi was credited as the film director for Spirits Within.
Really?
And it was shortly thereafter when... but it is classifying that he voluntarily stepped down for his post. It may have been either you step down or we're going to step you all down.
Oh. The honorable retirement. Quotations.
Yeah, he was given a chance to retire in honor rather than be removed in disgrace.
Yeah. There were so many things wrong with Spirits Within. I mean, like, if you take...
It's actually funny because I honestly don't understand, and this has been kind of me all for like forever with everything that everyone's like, oh my god, this is so bad. I don't see it as, I mean, was it perfect? No, but there's been worse things that have been made that have gotten, all this acclaim and awards and all this and that. It was decent. It was decently good.
I mean, the one thing, and I love the movie. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. When I say it's a horrible mess, is the factor that literally I had a few people that to this day they were expecting something along the lines of Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy VIII to be shown
Well,
at
of
the
course
movie
they
theaters.
Of course they were, because especially from the generation that was moving from, oh, hey, it's a Final Fantasy movie, moving from their consoles to go see it, they were much more familiar with 7 and 8, or even, a little bit older of a generation like us, where we were hoping for maybe a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the fact that it wasn't directly based on any of the games was, for as far as I was concerned, a good thing. Like, I felt like there was more they could do with the movie than, say, with Advent Children, where they were kind of shoehorned into an existing universe with an existing plot and or not plot, but existing characters and existing this, that, and the other.
Yeah. I have some arguments that would actually say it does have things in line with various themes within the Final Fantasy universe. No, the whole Gaia theory. That's a thing in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's predominant in Final Fantasy. It's predominant in, 7 specifically. You get several different side notes of Gaia theory. As far as it being, more technologically advanced than the Final Fantasies of its era, our Final Fantasy has definitely gone in that direction. Look at 13, look at 15.
Another thing I could state was kind of the collect or get 8 things to work, like the 8 crystals that Final Fantasy IV had of the above world and the world below.
And a lot of the games, or at least the more modern ones, have evolved to have 8 elements.
Yeah. And usually at least one of them is an element of darkness. In Final Fantasy Within, that would have been the spirit that was from the comet.
Yeah, the corrupted spirit.
Yep, the corrupted spirit. The comet itself, I guess you could say it's technically the invader from the outside, kind of like how, huge spoilers for various Final Fantasies, X-Death, or... X-Death would probably be the biggest thing.
Or you could make an argument for Kuja and this Necron.
Kuja, Necron... Oh! Ziormus.
I don't know if you'd make the same argument for Cloud. I think maybe or Cloud of Darkness, I think she might be something else.
No, Ziormus was 4. The thing that had basically brain...
No, I was going to add Cloud of Darkness to the list I was saying, but then I was like, well, maybe not.
We're technically talking about things that actually do relate from Final Fantasy spirits with other Final Fantasies.
Essentially, the Final Fantasy trope boxes that it checked.
Yep.
On its way through the production floor.
So, while it did not have magic per se, there was a bit of mysticism and various symbolism that it did kind of have check mark in a interpretive way. And I believe Sid was pretty much just the, oh hey, token Sid. But he's also technically, like, the Sid in Final Fantasy Within was the the older gentleman that sent our heroes on their quest, pretty much. Which, that's generalized Final Fantasy, not Final Fantasy, but generalized fantasy trope.
Well, and you could argue that it is a Final Fantasy because, not every Sid is, your plot start jump point. You have 8, which was relevant to that era, where he literally sent you on your earliest missions.
Mm-hmm.
You have, technically the Norg in the garden did, but he was the mouthpiece for them at that point.
Yeah.
In a smaller way, you could say you have Regent Sid from 9 because, and while he wasn't the overarching boss at any point in the story, he was always behind the scenes pushing the story.
Yeah.
Considering your troop was hired by him in the very, very, very beginning.
Another one that they could be referencing is Sid's first appearance, which I believe was Final Fantasy III, with him being the preeminent engineer of quotations the age, and with Sid being the so-called eminent engineer behind the spirit technology, kind of also influenced it as well.
Well, and that's definitely always been a major trope, is that no matter who or what Sid is, other than, I guess in 8, not really, but other than that one, Sid has always been like a technological wonder. 3 and 8. Now, I've seen a lot of Same World Secret. I don't know that I've seen 3 and 8. I know Tactics in 12 is super obvious and beats you over the head with it. There's been a lot of ones about 7 and 10. And then, of course, 14 just completely just said screw you to any separate worlds and just throws them all together and puts the blender on frappe.
Puts it in a hallway.
And then there's the theory saying that all of them are all connected because the Void and Gilgamesh.
Which I've always believed at the absolute most distance, a multiverse theory.
I'm okay with the multiverse theory, but the theory behind that one is the Void is basically some kind of like multiversal entropy entity that somehow Gilgamesh survived, and all versions of Gilgamesh are one and the same.
And that, honestly, that is, even in a multiverse theory, Gilgamesh being one and the same across all games is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is very likely a thing. Just likes to hit a small connection, just an Easter egg, never admit anything's connected, which is probably how Zelda started.
I really can't say much about the Zelda timeline since I'm not a huge... I don't have my quotations Zelda timeline map. I was just kind of like, all I know is that...
No, as far as I'm concerned, the expert Zelda timeline, the absolute best and most possibly definitive Zelda timeline, is the one that Matt Pat put out about a month ago. Game Theory.
Oh, the one that included...
It
Breath of the Wild.
Every game. Yeah, it literally includes every game with a very specific, like, even if it basically it has it uses quantum entangled multiverse, where whether you succeed or fail in this one game creates these different branches of multiverse that I mean, it's far more complicated than the average person's going to want to sit down and think about, but it's very interesting. But yeah, I mean, I do agree to a very large degree, Dex, that there are a number of different things that are largely fan inserted, that nobody even thinks about, nobody cares about, nobody wants to think about, but at the same time, that is where we are, is that we as fans say, hey, I can see, X connects to Y connects to Z. The developers say, hey, the fans see X connects to Y connects to Z. Let's go ahead and tighten those connections for them and have a little fun with it because they enjoy those connections. So we're going to make the game more fun for them. And, so they start playing up on it, and we reach a point where we do have a singularity like in 14, where everything's just imploding on itself and everything is connected and everything is just awesome forever as a result.
Or we could have something similar to Drakengard and Nier, where it's like, oh yes, time and dimensional fuckery abound. Ugh.
Well, time and dimensional fuckery always abounds. Even if they don't admit it, time and dimensional fuckery have to abound for half of just the mechanics of the game.
No, I mean like Drakengard and Nier, like it is blatant time and dimensional fuckery, because Drakengard to Drakengard 2 is ending A, whereas Drakengard to Nier is ending E, which they jump across dimensional borders, and then from Nier to Nier Automata, that's like at least 5 millennia.
Okay, so I gotta pause really quick because you just said Drakengard to Drakengard 2 is ending A.
Yes.
Drakengard to Nier is ending E. So what happened to endings B through D?
They didn't go anywhere. Also,
They're just false end universes.
basically they just dead end. Whereas, here's the fun part: Drakengard 3 is a prequel where none of the endings, A through, I believe, E, in Drakengard 3, technically lead to Drakengard, unless you accept a light novel that came out afterward that somehow takes ending A and E into effect and kind of compresses them down to the same ending that leads to Drakengard.
Oh, hey, time compression, which means that now it's connected to the universe of Final Fantasy VIII.
Well, it's more of like dimensional compression. But yeah, as stated, the whole Drakengard / Nier timeline is just, let's just say this. Take a squiggle mark and that's the timeline. Have fun.
And then we mix, since we have Final Fantasy VIII on the table, we mix Squall, who, for no adequately explainable reason, starts going by the name of Leon, and you already know where this is going.
Wait, Drakengard's not a shooter, and neither is a Nier.
Well, no. I'm saying Squall going
Yeah.
by Leon is a fairly major plot point character of Kingdom Hearts 1, which means all tied to all Disney forever.
Well, in this case, Michael, I was actually referring to Dex.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that they're shooters. I would put them as Drakengard is a mediocre Destiny Warriors, whereas Nier, I'd put that more as like platformer plus bullet hell. There are bullet hell inspired sections in Nier and Nier Automata, but no. As far as I can tell, that Drakengard does have the whole Kavya / Yoko Taro thing. He likes mixing and matching various game elements, because Drakengard had elements of Dynasty Warriors, as well as in Drakengard 3, Panzer Dragoon, both in top-down and like proper Panzer Dragoon style, like rail shooting. As for Nier, it was RPG platformer, which had elements of twin stick shooters, 3D bullet hells, side scrollers. Yeah, Nier is a good game. And I will say that as much as I would love to see Nier get remastered, I feel that if it did, it would take away from some of its charm. Since I actually do own Nier and Nier Automata, of which supposedly Yoko Taro's working on Nier Automata 2, and I'm like, it's not going to be known as that.
This is the part where I'm going to jump back in, because now we're talking about Final Fantasy VII HD 4.0 Super Special Awesome Vanilla Scented Ultimate Omega release.
Yes, they said they were going... Didn't they say that this was the 20th anniversary, 2017? And they said they were going to release the first episode on the 20th anniversary?
Which, I mean, first of all, first episode. That's my first issue, if we were to go so far. The fact that they want to take it, build it up, build it down, build it sideways, and then come back and say, "Oh, yeah, we're actually still working on it, but we're gonna get you episode 1. We're gonna get you the first piece, and you can pay full price for the first piece, and then you can pay full price for the second piece, and then you can pay full price for the third piece." I'm worried that that's going to be somewhere where we're going. I mean, that is taking it to its logical, albeit possibly illogical conclusion.
Or, in my thoughts, they could say, because of the backlash, because of the episodes, they could go the Final Fantasy 15 route and just, oh, it'll come out when it's done, Oh,
So
hello.
essentially, that would kind of work. That would make sense. And everyone who did the full Final Fantasy 15 will probably do the same thing with the full Final Fantasy 7 remake.
Yeah.
Which is that there were plenty of people who actually did buy the full game and who did buy the season pass, which is, I mean, essentially you're paying what, $20 more than a regular full game. Do that, or do exactly like I did for 15. Wait until the entire thing goes on a super special awesome sale and buy the full game plus the season pass for like $30 and just be like, oh hey, look at me, I've got a great game for $30.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm in the camp that I hope that they do the Final Fantasy 15 route and just, I don't care if it lands on the 20th or 25th or the 30th anniversary, as long as it's within my lifetime. And
I mean, at the rate we're going, it could very well end up in the same chamber, in the same level of hell that is currently reserved for Half-Life 3 and Kingdom Hearts 3.
And it may replace the slot that was taken up by the Duke.
Nukem.
Yeah.
Duke Nukem Forever. Duke Nukem Never.
Forever and ever and ever. There's a lot of those little interviews around. I mean,
Unfortunately, the behind-the-scenes interviews don't really prove too much, though, because developer helping them forget their name completely destroyed the game. So, here's the thing. I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a moment because I'm not sure how it's gonna turn out. None of us are really sure how it's gonna turn out 100%. Oh, okay, never mind. You qualified that. I don't need to go on that rant.
yeah.
Where they had to completely restart production. And, I mean, obviously that is a risk. And it wouldn't be the first time that happened to Squeenix. I mean, lest we forget, Final Fantasy XIV Before the Meteor. Final Fantasy XIV 1.0, which was by all...
We can win this.
by the nicest possible descriptions I have for it, Final Fantasy XIV 1.0 was a goddamn dumpster fire. And this is from someone who actually legitimately enjoys playing 14 in the 2.0 through 4.x era. 1.0 was a goddamn dumpster fire. And they went into huge levels of, oh shit, no we didn't, let's fix this, brought in the best people they could, including Yoshi P, and he said, okay, we can fix this, please look forward to it. And then he did. So, yes, it absolutely sucks, 100% sucks, that we are getting a delay as a result of a developer that was helping them destroying the game. If that's what happened, that absolutely 100% sucks. But I'm willing to be a little bit more patient than I would with any other company, just because, full disclosure, as I've said 183 trillion times on this stream, I am a Squeenix fanboy. I own that fact. I have no shame in my game. I absolutely love the company. I may not love everything they do, Final Fantasy VIII, Mystic Quest, and I may not love every decision they make.
Oh.
But yeah, I definitely I definitely have more than a little love for this company, and I'll be patient as long as it comes out as Asher said in my lifetime.
Yeah. Also, sorry, Mackenzie, if you're falling asleep and we're going into the crazy weird.
Oh no, it's okay. I'm just out of bed. I have a headache.
Oh.
Not caused by you guys.
That's the difference.
Oh boy.
Usually this podcast. I mean what?
Now I'm trying to remember how to get opera, and I'm blanking out. I'm really bad at this.
I am 99.9% convinced that the correct answer is that you have to go over to the other port town. That is the next step in getting her. You have to
Okay.
go over to the other side.
The broken port town? The X port town?
No. As in, you have to cross. You
Oh.
have to cross to the port.
Okay.
Yeah, we got the PA and cross where we saw the husband.
Yep. Where he just popped
So,
up, and that was it.
That's where I'm convinced that step 2, I'm convinced, was cross over and do a PA in that town.
Okay, so the next step is after the tournament.
Early.
Yep.
Oh, is it after the tournament? Oh, that sucks.
Oh.
Oh, also expel sword.
That's the end. Expel says it's technically... Okay.
Like,
I could check the bar right now. Oh wait, no, I'm not in PA right now. I am an idiot. Whoop. Given by his name, yes, I would probably...
Yeah, I would say there's a definite love of this specific Star Ocean, given the name Expel Sword. And as long as that love of this is specific Star Ocean also includes a, at best, disgust with the end of time, I think we're 100% on the same page.
Yeah, and given my luck with... as a heads up, I literally tried to pick out an entire town and failed every single one of them.
Really? Dex, you think that Last Hope was the bad one? Because I honestly do enjoy Last Hope. I did not care for End of Time. I felt like Last Hope was pretty good. I felt like Integrity was pretty good.
I'm... Last Hope I felt was mediocre. Till the End of Time just grated on my nerves. Mostly because of the characters. Okay, yeah, did the P. It's not that I don't enjoy all the Star Oceans, I just, Last Hope, I felt okay. Who's the cat girl in Last Hope?
Miracle.
I, could not stand.
Honestly, for me, I feel like the only real negative, I would say, for Last Hope is the way they dealt with Alternate Earth. I feel like I feel like they did that entire thing just to explain the UP3, to explain why they created the UP3, and it didn't have to be something anywhere near that dramatic or potentially traumatic.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, there some of the games, although I feel Integrity and Faithlessness did have a bit more care put into it than Last Hope. A little bit, but...
And one of the things, and this is something, please feel free to correct me, Dex and Expel, or and Asher, if I'm wrong on this, but if I remember correctly, because obviously 1 and 2 were both released under Enix with Tri-Ace. 3, I think, was the first one after the Squeenix merger, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then, of course, 4 and 5 were both definitely released under the Squeenix merger. The other question that I was trying to remember is if Tri-Ace was actually involved in the later elements of the series. And Yeah, it looks like that they were. Looks like they were definitely involved in 3 through 5 as well.
The original version was pre-merge.
Oh, really?
Admittedly, like when I first heard about Last Hope and heard the main character's last name, Edge Maverick, I literally had to sit there, and then because Last Hope was originally just 360 only, and then got changed for various reasons. Okay, so
Yeah, they wouldn't have had much of a at that point. Square wouldn't have had much of an impact on 3. Like the international version, the director's cut, they wouldn't have had much of an impact into those pieces. Because at that point, it was mostly taking the game as it existed, and adding pieces and tightening it up a little bit.
But the way I heard, like Last Hope was created was there was a lot of references kind of put into it, like Bacchus's home planet being EN2, which is an allusion to something in this game.
Yep. Which we will get to around the beginning of the second disc.
The planet that they go to and get, I forget her name, the winged human person, as well as Miracle, is an allusion to
not Miracle.
Not Miracle?
Miracle is Miracle's alternate Earth. But the winged human, Sarah, she is from dang it. Really, brain? Never mind. Apparently, I can't remember the name of the world, even though I should be able to.
Well, no, I mean, like, even though Miracle was alternate Earth, she was technically also a reference to Star Ocean 1.
Well, yeah, because she would be a greater Felpool.
Yeah. I'm getting the harmonica and conductor's baton right now. I am not getting the... That is... Cembalo? Clavison.
Roke.
Yeah, Roke.
Yeah, that's the world that they go to, and then of course that all ties. So honestly, and I agree with what Excel says. Was a game for Star Ocean fans, and that when you think JRPG, you don't really think Xbox 360, which fair. I have to say that my Xbox probably gathered more dust than got playtime, just because there weren't a whole lot of JRPGs, but it was the system my roommates wanted, and then they didn't want it anymore, so I bought it off them. It was exciting time. But yeah, honestly, what I feel that Last Hope was their attempt to create a prequel that really explained the everything. And so, yeah, it did have points where it got bogged down a little bit because it's spending so much time trying to explain and foreshadow the everything. Like with the events of Alternate Earth, directly tying into the need for and thus creation of the UP3, which is referred to throughout the series after that.
Even though some of the translations are not quite the same, because the original Star Ocean 2...
yeah, it's not always called the same thing, because I think in this one, it was called the Underdeveloped Planet Protection Treaty.
Yep.
Which doesn't have the same acronym. They wanted to be a little catchier with it and go UP3.
So it's one of those things, and funny anecdote about the 360 is that the games that kind of saved the 360 are games that would never do well in America. like the God, now I cannot even remember the name of them.
Really, because when I think the games that saved the 360, the first place my brain goes is Halo.
No, in Japan.
Oh, okay. The reason that it's over there, that it made it over there and was popular over there.
Yep.
Really quick, go back to Hilton and do private action because I
Okay.
want to say that it was in Hilton, or that something very key was in Hilton.
I'm gonna go smash a few things first.
You should
Okay.
also be really close to getting Come On Bunny.
I'm gonna smash. I'm gonna.
Reflection. That's definitely a spell that needs to be autoed for her. Although, in fairness, you know, these are relatively tough monsters compared to what you've been facing.
Yeah. Okay, and it sounds like Mackenzie's gonna drop out because, sad to say, her headache's gotten worse, so no worries.
Well, have a good night, Mackenzie.
Yep. But, all I know is that, The Last Hope was, as far as I can tell, a lot of references, and technically, kind of, it was built to basically for Star Ocean fans, as well as a way to kind of introduce people to them, even though I think most of the references went way past a lot of people. Because they were like,
Yeah,
Star Ocean?
Fair.
What's this?
I
So,
mean, Star Ocean had a pretty decent fan base, but it never had like an immense fan base. Like, I don't know, even today, if you would consider the Star Ocean fan base to be immense. I think you would consider it relatively moderate and decent. And as far as what I was thinking it was either the bar or the hotel. But again, as Expel said, it may very well be after the tournament. I honestly don't remember for sure.
yeah, I just went to the bar, and there's nothing there. So, I mean, like, the one I have the most problem with is 3 because of the denouement ending that it had. And yes, I am using that term most correct, even though I can't speak correctly, I am using that term in its correct sense.
Well, and while I may not be the greatest fan of 3, I don't really consider myself to hate on 3. And I definitely appreciate both 4 and 5 for the games that they are.
Yeah.
2 definitely by all means is absolutely my favorite. And 2 is on my list of if I had an infinite amount of money and control of the biggest, game developers in the world, I would say 2 would be on my short list of games that I would want to get an HD 4.0 Super Special Awesome. But I would also want it to be, like, super faithful, which is, of course, the other problem with remakes. And that's where we lead back into the Final Fantasy VII conversation of there's also been word of them trying to, tweak this, add this, remove this, to make it a more modern Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, basically
more real.
doing the same stuff that they tried to do with 15, but then having to go back and then redo everything. One rumor that I recall about the Final Fantasy VII Remake was it was going to be using the engine that 15 is based off of. Which, as far as I know, that may have completely changed. Because...
Which, at the end of the day, let's be honest, 7 was a great game for its story. 7 was a traditional JRPG for its gameplay and definitely had some fun in there. Modern, I don't know. Do we have very many modern examples of turn-based, of true turn-based RPGs?
Without going to like retro games or the swath of horrible RPG Maker games that have pretty much flooded Steam.
Well, see, and that's the other catch is, I mean, obviously at that point we also have to look to indie, but we also want to look at the games that are well received and do well. One example of that, obviously, is Undertale. Which Undertale is kind of a weird hybrid because it's definitely still turn taking, but at the same time, you're still actively engaged during your turns, and it does everything it can to flip just about every trope on its head. So it's kind of elsewhere in that as well.
I just thought of one, but it has not been released yet.
Well, it's kind of hard to judge how awesome it is based on it not be, or how awesome it'll do based on it not being released yet.
We played a demo of it though.
When at GDC or?
No, on stream.
Oh, I missed that episode.
No, you were part of it because it was you, me, Eddie, and Mackenzie.
Which game are we talking about?
Y2K.
Oh, I vaguely remember us playing that, but I don't remember anything about it.
Okay.
Super memorable.
As a heads up for people that may not be on the whole indie scene or pay attention to stuff like GDC, Y2K is essentially, as the developers are putting it, a love story to games like Wild Arms, Earthbound, which is its biggest influence, as well as aesthetic choice. And even though I never got to be a backer of it, I heavily recommend going out and looking up Y2K.
I remember now. That was actually quite amazingly fun.
Yeah, because it's still a turn-based, but it's very the gameplay is very similar in the vein of like for the actual combat, Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, and a little bit of Earthbound.
Mm-hmm.
Because the characters use weapons that you don't normally would consider weapons, like records, a keytar, hacky sack.
Mm-hmm.
But they
Which,
come,
of course, the trope of both of those games.
yeah. Which Earthbound, you had things like frying pans, baseball bats, death rays. Not typical things that you would expect of like RPGs. But then it also had the aesthetic that Earthbound had with just really over the top. That cat. Sorry, distracted by cat. Really over the top, like enemies that you would normally never consider, like the the hippie, the dogs, the very angry large woman.
Vehicles and stop signs and
Vehicles, stop signs, just really stuff that you would normally never consider an enemy. But yeah, if I'm pretty sure I did upload the demo of Y2K to the YouTube channel. Oh, hey, I can sell books to that guy, but he's not willing to do anything else. Can I talk to you, sir?
yeah, that's literally his entire purpose for existing.
Yeah.
Is you sell books to him to get yourself published.
Ah.
Once you're able to do the full publishing, Check that last store on the right, though. That's the I think that's the bookstore.
Sensibility 3.
Haha.
And combat. Okay. I can't get combat 3. Damn it.
We can get combat 3 later.
Let's see. Do I?
Sensibility 3 is the important one.
Yeah. Okay. So skills. Yeah. I probably don't
I
have.
think sensibility 3. I think sensibility 3 may give you the last piece for Come On Bunny.
I get writing. There it is. Effort.
Effort.
And effort is probably one that we need to pump into because it lowers the needed experience to gain levels. So
it also goes into practice.
Yep. Guess what? Reyna has SP that I can dump that into.
Sweet.
Oh Jesus! I dump one. Don't be fooled. I put 1 into it and it jumped up to 10.
I honestly would disagree because the effort ability or skill piece itself, maybe, but the practice command and the comprehension which that builds into are both useful.
Okay, and I'm... there's the other one, animal training. Okay.
Well, and let's be honest, by the time we're actually worrying about any of that, we're going to end up switching gears and getting our reverse side on so we can get a bunch of forged metals. I would have to disagree. I find that with practice, demonstrably, yes, it's about I'd say it's about a 20-25% drop in productive in skill productivity, however you want to phrase that. But at the same time, I feel like the XP gain is significant enough to make it worth it. Again, I mean, once you get to forged metals, obviously not a huge deal. Well, yes and no, because then forged metals only work until just before 100.
Admittedly, yes, I gained, like, how many levels when I was grinding, like, last week? Oh, no.
Yeah, but you were also grinding.
Yeah. AKA
Like,
boring.
most of the stream was grinding. Practice saves us from most of the stream being grinding because someone keeps not playing off stream.
Yeah, I'm horrible because I keep saying I'm going to do things off stream, and work happens. I mean, this is not like as bad as some games like Monster Hunter 1 with, oh, hey, you want a Rathalos plate? Good fucking luck. Literally. At
Sorry,
best.
you're not qualified to get a sword from Grandpa Gamgee.
Wait, which game?
Huh?
You said Sword of Gamgee?
Yeah, you're not good enough to get a sword from Grandpa Gamgee.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry, okay. So, popped into town. Wait, did I go to this side? Did I even do this? I'm not even sure anymore. No, wait, I did this in the port town, but I didn't do this in this town.
Oh, check all the rooms.
Check all the rooms. Okay. So
Check all the rooms. Fail horribly at pickpocketing all the people.
I'm not in a private action.
Wait a minute. Oh my god, I just realized something. How am I so stupid? Pull up your specialties.
Whoop.
Like taste mana, those ones.
Oh, those ones. Okay. Claude only has originality and pitch. Reyna has dexterity, pitch, sense of rhythm.
I was worried about Claude.
Okay.
One of Claude's missing ones is dexterity.
Huh?
What do you want to bet? I didn't even realize that because I almost always get dexterity on him on initial roll, but one of his starting ones is dexterity.
Hmm.
What do you want to bet? What do you want to bet?
Bet what?
That not having dexterity is the reason why you've failed so many times in all the cities back on cross continent.
Oh God. Yes, the streak of pocket fail, pocket fail, pocket fail. God.
That would explain why the fail rate was so abnormally high for you.
Yeah.
Because you don't have if that skill is in fact required. Like I said, I've never even thought about that because I've always started with that skill. And usually, if I don't have a skill, I sit down with some maps and I grind out the skill. Expel's agreeing with me that that is the reason.
Okay.
Oh my god. That's a thing. That is in fact a thing.
Okay. Now I need to go look up maps and various things. That failure rate is not abnormal for one who lacks talent.
Yeah, no. If you don't, I know that if you don't have talent for crafting, that you are pretty much guaranteed to fail until you unlock the talent, unless you're under orchestra.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize that it also did it for pickpocketing until it just dawned on me like right then. Like you guys heard the entire dawning process as my brain just went, oh shit, what if?
Yep.
Seriously. Minus 50 points for my brain just now realizing that like 3 weeks later. But I did at the same time, I did suggest very strongly that you get mats and sit down and grind out your skills and unlock them. That conversation is on stream. I guarantee we can pull it up.
Yep. Which means grinding for mets and then just going hog wild, quotations.
In the remake, it's referred to nimble fingers, making its necessity for pickpocketing very obvious.
Yep.
I don't know. Even then, because of the fact that we can't see it on screen until it's unlocked.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, it's something that we definitely should have realized. It was slapping us in the face with its obviousness.
Yep. Or I could just stomp him until I get to Diaz, and then it's going to be like, and then fucking curb stomped.
Well, I mean, that's literally how it works, yeah. I mean, spoiler, not spoiler.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like it's probably a good thing. We may do Valkyrie profile sooner or later. I do kind of want to do it since I've never really played Valkyrie profile properly.
I think Dex was more referring to finding someone who's actively streaming it, like, pretty much right meow.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was pretty much what I was telling him. Expel is just grind through some iron. That's literally one of the first things I do as soon as I get to Salva. Oh, Dex, quit this and play VP.
I don't think I have a copy of Valkyrie profile saved right now. And yes, this is a rip from my actual copy of Star Ocean.
Remember the good old days when we used to actually rip our own games so that we could play them on the PC? Obviously, your computer remembers because you've got one of those.
Well, considering that I had to find out which external hard drive this was saved on.
Fair.
So, and as of right now, I don't, like, considering that how the internet's acting right now, not like the speed or anything, but how the factor that, oh, hey, everybody's basically on watch for what's happening. Trying to go out and get one of those copies would be bad. And I don't know where my copy of Valkyrie Profile that I bought like a few years ago is packed up. So, considering that I had a physical copy and I had access to my PS2 and I was doing it kind of just, I wanted to sit down and play it, but I just didn't. It's kind of like
And
how
it's always been something. Valkyrie Profile has always been something kind of on my watch list that I just never got around to. But unfortunately, since I play on PS4, while I would actually go out and buy it if it was available to buy, and I'd just be like, okay, here's a first look stream. Let's run through this. Let's do this poop. It doesn't seem to be available on PSN, so that's not really going to work out.
Yeah, and technically there is a quotations remake for PSP, and kind of like a remake for PS2, but it's like that doesn't really do much for a lot of people. And really, this is happening a lot better than my our originals where I was streaming about freaking what was it? It was the one with the mist and the input fighting.
Oh, with the Christmas trees.
Yes.
Legend of Gaia.
Yeah, Legend of Legaia.
That was actually quite fun. I kind of wish we could go back to that, but unfortunately that save state was lost.
No, it's technically just sealed away in the computer at the time. I need to get out.
I mean, honestly, at this point, that might as well be just lost to the ethers because you have not, nor probably will in the near future, get into that computer.
Considering that computer probably needs to be sit down and have its cooling system worked on, because it literally, in order for it to operate at a semi-decent usable level, I literally have to be sitting inside of a, oh hey, look who I just found. Basically a walk-in freezer for it to work.
Hey, look who you just found.
Yep. And
The most powerful symbologist of this world.
and basically him going like, where the fuck did you come from? You're not authorized to be here.
Visitors can't come all the way here.
Okay.
Tourists nowadays have absolutely no manners. I hate that.
Given the fact that I didn't see a single freaking guard on the way here, which means that you,
Other
sir...
than that guard over there that's protecting you from going into the laboratory itself.
Yeah, the actual place that we'd want to protect.
Well, I mean, that's Leon for you. Leon Beast.
Oh hey, first chest that I found. Oh god, star rubies. Ah. I'm trying to remember, and this probably plays into why I don't really like Star Ocean 3 a lot, is the crafting system in it. Was that Star Ocean 3 literally, I think it was like mid to late game, and I'm pretty sure Expel Sword will correct me on this, forced you to try and go into the crafting system in order to progress the story. So if you have not been paying attention to it, literally it forces you to spend a good chunk of your time going back out and grinding your way through crafting.
And 4 and 5 did that with side quests, but it didn't really do that with the main story, as my memory serves. And 2, I don't think it even had that with side quests. I don't think it was ever really a point where you have to. Spell Sword, that never happens. So he corrected you.
Okay. Huh.
Maybe it was a side quest? I don't know. Is that a thing, Expel, where there's side quests in 3 like there are in 4 and 5? Certainly some things that require IC, but not the main story. Okay, so yeah, it works. It works similarly to 4 and 5 then, where there's definite things that you can do with IC, and there's some side stuff with it, but it's not, by no means does it require you to ever actually use it to progress main. MSQ is not linked to item creation. Which, fair enough. I mean, I have no problem with side quests being linked to item creation. In fact, I really enjoy that. Because, if the item creation system is decent, like the 1 and 2 is, the 1 and 4 is, the 1 and 5 is, then, I'm sorry, I've only played 3 a little bit, and it was not my necessarily fondest of memory, so I don't have the best recollection of it. But every other game in the series, the item creation has always been at least, nice, interesting and useful. It's never been something where I'm like, oh god, I have to. Like, I think the largest onus would be in 4, where you have to collect party SP and then spend the party SP on discovering recipes, and even that's not an onus, because you just get a couple green blocks on your bonus board and just run around the world with green blocks. And hey, look, I suddenly have 500 trillion SP. I can discover every single recipe a million times over, and also PL all my characters' abilities. Now, each of the sets are more or less balanced. If I remember right, there's like, each of them has like a specific focus on if you want a more tanky build, if you want a more strikery build, if you want a balanced build. Or then there's I guess the girl shop is kind of more of a weird build.
Yeah. Knockout. Attack of 414. But looking at it,
yeah, that's definitely the striker's build. If the sword is better than anything you have, or better than what you currently have, it might be worth it. But at the same, it's also going to be 100% predicated on can you strike first and make sure you don't get hit.
Yeah.
Like, I usually go with the medium build, the one that's like the armor is decent, the weapon is decent, nothing's really super strong or super weak.
Yeah. Okay.
So that sword is definitely a lot better than what you have right now, but it may also be available for sale. I think it's also available for sale after the tournament.
Yeah, and
I think it's this guy I usually go with. Well, yeah, and that's what I mean, is that you can win with any of the 3 builds. Well, I mean, I guess probably any of the 4 builds, but it really comes down to one is definitely good. Or no, that's not what I'm trying to say. It's more, do you play a more offensive where you can definitely get in and hit them before they can hit you? Are you going to be able, do you need the extra time to sit back and think about what you're doing? Where you're going to want to play more defensively initially? You want a more balanced build, or then you've got the weirdo. But
Yeah.
this is the build I usually go with because it's stronger in every aspect from what you normally have, and it's also it's just a good balanced build.
Yeah. I feel
Now,
like
if we'd gotten the pickpocketing right and we'd gotten the dexterity unlocked, he could be sitting on an 1800 sword right now, and the long edge wouldn't even be a question because
Yeah.
we wouldn't care what we get, what we win out of it.
hmm I feel like for my playstyle, straight would probably be the better out of the three. Because, well, the long edge, yes.
And I know, yeah, straight's definitely the one I always go with, and then I usually come back and buy the long edge. I think.
Yeah. Because looking at it, knockout, yes, I can basically break things. But I feel I'm just a little bit too squishy with it.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, I think the long edge, or maybe even something better than that, can be crafted for me. But I mean, again, that requires you to spend the time to grind up your skills for crafting because you don't want to waste the materials that go into it for very obvious reasons.
Yeah. Big gimmick to make money. Yes, paint the town red in blood.
Hey. What do we say about that?
Blood for the blood god?
No.
We need to find oh god, now I've lost the reference. Fuck!
Yeah, that happens pretty often.
I was trying to make a Bloodborne reference.
No, denied.
Damn it. I wouldn't doubt that it's more expensive. Also... Oh hey, I forgot about this. Whoop. Nope. To the bar! Like everybody that parties should. And if I recall correctly, the grandfather, you can only get on Rena's route, correct?
Yeah, Grandpa Gamgee is that's on Rena's route because it's the sword that DS uses in both playthroughs.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to pop out of town for a brief moment, just to save, because it's been a while. Or are they going to allow?
I think they don't allow you because you're in the tournament.
Oh, no, they do. They just kind of
Oh,
go
okay.
like, oh, by the way. So,
And as much fun as we're having, it is the 2-hour mark.
yeah. Sorry, Expel and Dex. We kind of have a time limit of 2 hours. But as such, thanks for joining us. It's great to actually have some participants. And,
And we will be back next weekend to continue this game. It has something to do. You could explain it better. I know it has something to do with the archiving to YouTube.
it's generally a little bit of archiving as well as some statistics, being that a lot of people who watch YouTube videos that we put on the archive to are willing to watch something that may be 2 hours long, or at least listen to something 2 hours long, but unless it's music, not longer. So, as well as the factor that sooner or later we're going to probably be breaking this up into chunks to like anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. So if people do want to watch it, they will get smaller chunks that they could sit down and watch in much more easier to consume bites. Versus people that will literally spend hours upon hours streaming.
Yeah, like me when I'm doing my Jackbox stream, and I'm just like, oh hey, look, it's 3 a.m. Where does the time go?
So, also I try and limit myself in everything, including reading. So I have enough time in the day to do a lot of different things. So, in this case, I hope you both have a great night, and thanks for joining us.
And as I was trying to say, we play this. We'll be back again next Friday to continue from where we just left off. So if you guys want to join us, we usually start around 7:45 Mountain Time. Tonight was a little bit later, but right in that area.
As well as for the people that, even if they aren't participating, there's also the updates via Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube channels. So, oh, and the factor that we still have the archive of the podcast of Eddie's side of things.
Oh right, yes. I always forget about that.
Yeah.
Largely because I'm not included in that anymore since you guys moved.
And
Regardless.
Eddie's put it on kind of a semi-permanent hiatus. So, yeah. There's a backlog of podcasts that you can listen to if you felt like it. But until then, I hope hope all of you have a good night and enjoy the new year.
Bye.
Night.